And welcome back to the Red and Gold Zone. It is time for my favorite segment of the show. Of course, I'm joined by Kylan Mills, and also, of course, we're joined by our Red and Gold insider, Grant Cohn. Grant, thank you so much for joining us. Let's get right to it, man. That was a dominant performance last Sunday against the Patriots. And quite frankly, the 49ers looked like that team that played for a Super Bowl last year. Have they turned a corner, or were the Patriots maybe not as good as we all thought they were?
Both. I mean, we don't need to talk about the Patriots, but they're not going anywhere with Cam Newton. With the Niners, it seemed like they really did have the Super Bowl hangover, whatever that freaking is and means. But it seems like you could see it. They got blown out at home by the Dolphins. That never happens. It should never happen. And it seems like it's almost what they needed because they just beat the Patriots in New England by 27 points. No one does that. And it seems like they're, as you said, the team they were last year, finally.
So talking about the 49ers defense, Grant, not quite where they were at last year, obviously injuries a factor, but do you think the defense is good enough to carry this team into the postseason, or will Jimmy G need to step it up, put some more points on the board for them to go far for the Niners?
It's not just the defense. It's the defense and the run game working together. That's their formula, and it took them to the Super Bowl last year. They won an NFC Championship game, throwing the ball 8 times. I think they can do it again. The defense isn't quite as good, but it's still very good. The run game's still fantastic. I think they can use the same formula to get back to the Super Bowl. But to your point, yes, I think Jimmy Garoppolo is going to need to improve to win the whole thing. And it seems like he improved from 2 weeks ago to last week. So maybe he's going in the right direction.
So defense still good, but we do need Jimmy G to step up. I do think Fred Warner could be a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. Now, looking forward to next week, the 49ers will never admit this, but it's a game that's always circled on the calendar. Last year, they played 2 classics, one loss in overtime to a field goal and then another goal line stand to win that game. And Russell Wilson playing as good as ever. How do you see this matchup playing out on paper?
The Niners are 3-point underdogs on the road, which means the odds makers basically don't know that the Seahawks have the home field advantage. I actually like the Niners to win this game, even though the Niners are in last place in their division and the Seahawks are in first place. The Seahawks have the number 1 offense in the league and maybe the number 1 quarterback as well, but they have no run game. Their running backs are hurt. Their best runner is Russell Wilson. If they had JaMychal Hasty, the Niners undrafted rookie running back, he'd be starting for them right now, and maybe he should be starting for the Niners too. They also have no defense. It's ranked last in the league. So they're kind of a one-dimensional team. It used to be a team like the Niners with defense and running, and now it's just drop back 50 times and throw. And the Niners aren't like that. The Niners are a much more well-rounded team. Jimmy isn't as good as Russell Wilson, but his team is better than Russell Wilson's. I'm picking the Niners.
Like that pick. All right, we've got to talk about MVP candidates. It's already that time of year. Russell Wilson, obviously the front runner. I also like Aaron Rodgers, but who do you got as your lead MVP?
Right now, it would be Russell Wilson. He's playing better than he ever has played, and he's one of the best quarterbacks of his generation. He's going to go down as one of the best quarterbacks of all time. But that doesn't mean he's perfect without flaws. And he has a couple, one in particular that the Niners need to exploit. As good as he is, he's impatient in a way that Tom Brady in his prime wasn't. Tom Brady will be happy to throw 1,000,000 8-yard passes and control the game and beat you that way. Russell Wilson likes to throw deep. He's great at throwing deep. He's the best at throwing deep. So if you just kind of play back and play zone coverage and dare him to check it down, he'll get impatient. He'll throw it up. He did it last week against Arizona, and that's part of the reason they lost. So if the Niners look carefully at what the Cardinals did, even though they gave up a bunch of points, they can find things that they can use to win this game.
Right, Grant. Al, this Sunday is the start of a brutal stretch. The next 5 games, you have the Seahawks, the Packers, the Saints, the Bills, the Rams. All 5 teams are in the playoffs right now. Just being realistic, what do you think the 49ers have to get through this 5-week stretch to still be in the hunt to make a playoff spot? Because even that right now isn't guaranteed.
Right. Well, they're 4-3 right now. You're talking about the next 5 games. So if they win 2 of the next 5 games, they come out of this stretch. Math is hard. What, 6-6? 500. And the way that the new playoff structure is, 7 teams make it. And that means probably one team that's 9-7 is going to make the playoffs. So they got to win 2, but looking at that stretch, it doesn't look as daunting as it did before. I mean, the Packers have no defense. The Saints have no defense. They can't stop the pass. I feel like the only team that I wonder if the Niners can beat in the NFC is Tampa, the team with Tom Brady, the team with the quarterback the Niners turned down, who was knocking on their door, almost begging to play for them. They're like, nah, sorry, we got Jimmy. So that's the team I'm wondering about. Every other team I think the Niners can actually compete with as long as they run the ball and play the defense they're playing.
All righty, there you have it. Grant Cohn, always dropping gems. Grant, for myself and Kylan, thanks for tuning in. And there you have it. Those are our keys to the game.